My name is Ingrid Stange. I was the founder of Partnership for Change of Norway, or it's now actually global. It's a small foundation, but we are doing a lot of work. And Partnership for Change was established because as a sort of a natural follow-up from the work I had done for 30 years since I left business. I wanted to use the skills I had learned from my education and my business background and entrepreneur background to start social businesses and social activities, social organizations. And actually there have been quite a few of them, and they're all thriving and breaking even, at least so that they can have sustainability. And for many years people didn't really understand what I was doing, and I just didn't quite understand it myself. I just did what I thought was right. And then I was in Oxford for a totally different reason, and Skull World Forum was there. And I popped in to see what's this all about. This was in the early days of the Skull World Forum, where you could sort of pop in and look at it. Now you have to be invited in November to get in April. So it's very popular. Then I learned two new words. The one was social entrepreneurs. The other was venture philanthropy, and I realized that's what I was doing. So I found out that I can sort of try to bring this new way of thinking to Norway. And once I started doing that, it turned out that I wasn't alone. There were many people in Norway doing the same. We just didn't have the name on it. And Bitten contacted me, and because I wrote an article in the newspaper, and we sort of had it rolling. And from being some strangers out there doing these strange things, we are now mainstream, and which is good for the planet. Partnership for Change was created because I wanted to get more people involved in the way we worked, in terms of understanding that there is an urgency for change. We need to change to be able to live together in this planet, using the resources of the planet in a more meaningful way and a more sustainable way. And we also need to make the world more, to use Clinton's world, more stable and more sustainable and more equal. People think, still there's a lot of people thinking, well, we do our business and then we can do some good. But if we are going to have any place to use, to do our business, we need to combine it all, because otherwise we will have no planet to do our business in. So we started with a conference 3 years ago to create awareness, to bring good examples to the scene, make people who had done some good work to change the world meet, stand on the scene and be proud of what they had done. Newspapers very often criticize. If you are an entrepreneur, whether it's business or social, you will make mistakes. You cannot create ventures without making mistakes. Newspapers have a tendency to pick out the mistakes. The same with the aid work. Norwegian aid is huge. There's a lot of Norwegian aid money spent. Of course, some of that will be done wrongly. And if newspapers only focus on what's done wrong, you dare not stick your head out because you're afraid of being criticized. So we created the Partnership for Change to help people stand up and be proud of what they've done, and show that you can make a difference as a social, as an individual, and as a business, and as government. We all have a role to play, and we should partner because we get so much stronger. So the first conference was a success. We had 750 people coming, thanks to partners like Bitten, thanks to Tor, thanks to this partnership that we work together to create the movement. And then the year after, we had focused on women empowerment. We, luckily for us then, and for many others, the Nobel Peace Prize was given to 3 women at that specific year, after we had decided to have this conference on women empowerment. So there was another movement around that. This year we focused on youth empowerment. And we will be focusing on youth for the coming time for many reasons. One is, of course, that youth are the youth is the power that can change the world, because our age, we have sort of mixed everything up. We have done a lot of mistakes, so now we have to give it to no. But there are many reasons why we should focus on youth, because there is no longer a shift, technology shift. It's tectonic shift, what we call it. It's total change in how the world cooperates and how the world works. Like this meeting, where we are going to have a meeting globally by just sitting here. There is a total new change, and we have to change to get the speed up for getting a better world. So that's why we're going to focus on youth, because youth are able to see the new change and take the challenges in a better way than the older generations. Another reason is that we have now an unemployment rate within the Western world, especially, and in addition to the third world, which is growing and which is very serious for youth. I am dead scared about what's happening in Southern Europe now, where you see neo-Nazism coming up in 2 digits, where there are 20 to 30% neo-Nazis in Greece right now. And why? Because they get desperate. They feel outside. They don't feel that they don't have a job. They don't have a meaning in life. They feel desperate. Neo-Nazism is or any kind of extremism happens as a result of desperation. So what we need to do is to see how can we make the young generation feel part of the society, feel that they have, and not only feel, but reality, be part of the society, and feel that they have a power to change the world. So Partnership for Change today is the conference that we have every year. It's participating in events like this. So this is sort of the awareness building. We also have created a social innovation fund, which is starting now with Burma, where we have, or Myanmar, where what we see is in a country in transition from dictatorship or conflict to democracy, is a very fragile country. You can have politicians help with the democracy building and peace building, but unless the society in general creates a sustainable business, sustainable civil society, this peace building will be too fragile and won't last. We've seen this many, many times. So what we're trying to do with our Social Innovation Fund is help build small businesses, but above the microfinance level, but help local entrepreneurs get their business up and running so that there can be a social innovation and business innovation in the countries. So we are now working in Myanmar. We're also now looking at South Sudan as a possibility to go in there. And we look for partners that we work together with. And the third part is PFC hubs, Partnership for Change hubs, that we are now starting to build, where we build local local task forces within Norway, Greece, US, any area where we can help the local groups get together, the government, entrepreneurs, philanthropists, social entrepreneurs, business, sit down in small task forces defining what are the 3 most urgent issues in our local society, and how can we go about together to solve them, and then also do it. So it's sort of task forces working locally and working at local issues. And these local hubs we hope to get to be a global movement. And I'm sure many of you are working with similar issues, so that we should cooperate to get these hubs up and running. I came from the US early this week because we opened an office in Minnesota, where all the Norwegians are, and where there is a thriving business community. So we have PFC. It's a foundation in itself, but we're going to be one global organization. So it's not going to be PFC US Foundation and PFC Norway. It's going to be PFC Global. So we use this McKinsey model of having one firm or one organization. So that's what we're doing right now. And we had what we will talk about today, which Jonas will tell you more about, is something that really gave us a lot of early win or quick wins. And it was just a spur of the moment reaction. I read in the newspaper Thursday night of a week ago about Marte, the young Norwegian woman who was raped and was given 6 months prison for being raped. And to me that didn't sound right. So I created a Facebook page called Martes Mødre, Martes Mothers. And I started inviting friends, but I realized, being a dinosaur, I didn't really know how to create this viral movement. So I called Jonas the next morning saying, we need to make this viral. We have to get action on Marte, and we cannot accept this. I am a mother of 2 girls, 24 and 25. What would I have done if that was my daughters? I would probably have gotten somebody on the helicopter and sort of go down and get her out from the Siemens Church, but that's not the politically right way to do it. So we started this viral campaign. I asked Jonas to put it out on avast.org, which is a fantastic, I'm sure you're all part of Avast community. And Jonas said, you cannot use the name Martes Mødre because a 24-year-old boy doesn't sort of think of himself as Martes mother. So, but I think my age, we would easily think of that. So Jonas created this hashtag Release Marte Facebook site, and he was right, that was a much more easier visited site. And then he started the avast.org, and he will explain more what happened to that organization. And just before I let Jonas have the microphone, it's interesting because all the other work we're doing does not get so much press interest. But once I came to the US last week, I was interviewed in the local radios and newspapers, and so this is really something that people noticed. But it's just an example of how you, as a person, react, and you can really have power. So she was released 4 days after.